at the Snap-on Tools Spring Nationals, presented by WCYB TV5 and Coca-Cola. We're ready for top fuel elimination. First, let's meet the king of the top fuelers and talk tech with Big Daddy Don Garlits in another edition of Inside Scoop.
A 5,000 horsepower nitro engine requires a tremendous amount of fuel. To burn that fuel, you've got to have a really hot spark. Now, the Magneto companies have done a good job. They've built mags that deliver a lot of spark, but they do also require a lot of maintenance. So along comes this company that builds this little thing called a condenser. It stores energy from the previous cycle to deliver it to the spark plug when it's time to be fired. Now, where the spark plug wire used to go in like this, it's a simple thing. You put the condenser in just like this, you shorten up the spark plug wires, you hook them up, you're ready to go. Only about 5 teams have this device right now, but it really looks promising for the future.
If there's one guy who appreciates a new technological trick, it is Big Daddy. Now here is our first look at the brand new top fuel dragster of defending world champion Doug Herbert. There is his opponent, driving one of John Kerry's machines, Mike Smith. Now, Mike's boss, John Kerry, is out of the event after his big crash with Doug Foxworth, but this is the second car on that team, a pair of second-generation racers here, Ted.
That's right. Mike Smith, the son of Paul Smith from Boynton Beach, Florida, who for many, many years campaigned very ruggedly on the IHRA trail, and that's really where Mike cut his teeth. Doug Herbert, a second-generation drag racer, going all the way back to the Herbert Cams fame, and of course, as you can see, sponsored currently by Herbert Performance Parts.
And on the edge sportswear, Doug Herbert missed the season opening Winter Nationals at Darlington, so he has no points coming into this weekend. He picks up some for being #1, but he's got to go to the victory if he's going to stay with Foxworth for the World Championship. He's got this one.
Doug Herbert, a 5:14, 277 miles per hour. That's phenomenal in the altitude and the heat we have right now. The Tosti Spumani in-car cam looking sideways. You'll see just what Doug Herbert would see if he looked sideways outside that car.
Mike Smith comes up at the end, but it was too little and too late. Now there is a look at Richard Langson, #2 in points coming in, the runner-up at the Winter Nationals. His opponent, the man who drives for Big Daddy right there, guiding former funny car world champion Bruce Larson into place. The Garlits-Larson combination is really beginning to come on.
You know, this combination, probably with Bruce Larson at the wheel, has more potential than any combination in drag racing. Larson, who drove for many, many years, Garlits, the genius and the innovator. You know, this has to be very intimidating to Richard Langston looking over there at these two old veterans.
You see the totally enclosed cockpit, just one of Don Garlits' innovations. There's Richard Langson from Carson City, Nevada, where he's in the casino business. The thunder of two 5,000 horsepower machines on the way. Looks like Langson has the advantage. Oh, and a big engine blow. Big problems for Bruce Larson as Langson takes the victory.
Actually, Langston had it won right off the starting line with a better reaction time, Bob, coupled up with that 5:28, a better ET. You can see clearly here that he's first off the line. Now watch him come around and pass Larson. Right now, you're going to see the car start slowing down as that engine goes away. He hits the finish line, and boom, the engine lets go right there. Fire and smoke puffing out the back of that car.
As it cruised by at the end of the run, you could see the fire coming out the side of the block. It looks like maybe a connecting rod or something came right out the side of the block. Now take a look at this. This is Doug Foxworth's totally repaired machine. At least Doug better hope so. Points leader following the Winter Nationals at Darlington. Every team in the pits came together to get Doug Foxworth to this point. His opponent, Randy Meyer from Spring Hill, Kansas.
Well, there's a rumor in the pits they're calling this thing the quilt. I mean, it's patched together.
Down the track they go, and Foxworth blows over. A huge crash for Doug Foxworth. The car comes apart. You see him there in the roll cage.
One final roll over. He stops on all 4 wheels, or what's left of it, and right now we see him moving. He is moving inside that cage.
Now we have access to the IHRA officials radio network, courtesy of Racing Radios. Let's listen in.
Tell him on the starting line he's okay. Tell him on the starting line. Somebody get over and tell him she's okay. The driver's okay. We're here with the driver. The driver appears to be okay. He go for you.
And that's good news to Doug Foxworth's crew waiting anxiously at the start line. Now here's another look, the dreaded blowover.
You can see the car starting to lift at about the 8th mile mark. He turns completely over, comes down, disintegrates the top end. Look how far through the air that car flew before it ever actually come to impact with the asphalt surface.
These cars are incredibly strong. As the bodywork is shed, you notice how the frame rails and the roll cage hold together. Look at the reaction of the crowd.
Right on top of it, a bird's eye view. Now watch this one final roll slowly over. Foxworth just tucks in and holds on. The smartest thing he could do.
Keep the arms inside the chassis. And note also that the car doesn't hit anything. It kind of tags the wall with the nose. Here from our ESPN finish line camera, you see the car take out the lights and watch as the debris follows him down the racetrack.
Well, those parts being moved along by inertia, there's the wing. It caused the whole problem.
Did it hurt right here, dog?
Yeah, I think it's just because I hit the tubing when it was...
Yeah, because you got a cut out.
Come back down and hit the ground.
Did you? Okay.
It's mostly just like I hit in the head. That's my biggest problem.
Still dizzy?
Yeah, I mean, it's getting better, but...
Is it? You got tingling on your lips and stuff, or no? What about your nose? No?
No, it's just like
Dizzy at all?
It's a real bad headache, and you can't focus on everything real well.
Okay.
I got hit on the head last night, too.
Yeah. You want to take a ride to the hospital and get checked out?
Probably wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea, Doug. I really do.
Okay.
A truly frightening moment. We know that Doug Foxworth is okay, but his crew did not. Those scary moments during an accident. You see the medical staff taking no chances with Doug Foxworth. Now Brett has caught up with his car owner, Bob Rex.
Bobby, you are obviously disgusted with the situation that's occurred here. It looks like Bobby is probably all right. He's just going in for your observation. He was complaining of a problem in his left leg. He said it felt like it hurt pretty good when it came down, but this wasn't a problem with the way the chassis was either. It was just a traction problem.
Yeah, there wasn't anything wrong with the car.
It was going straight.
Yes, sir. It just come off the ground and the wind caught it. And after that, you know what happens when the wind catches it.
Yeah, the first IHRA blowover yet, and this one looks unrepairable, but I think we're all happy that the driver, like I said, Bobby was conscious and talking. I think we're happy that he's just the way he is.
Thank you.
Great effort.
Thank you.
Well, one wreck like that is bad enough, but it has been a long weekend for Bobby Rex, driver Doug Foxworth, and his crew. We'll be back. Bristol International Dragway, where the crowd is still a little shaken after that huge top fuel crash involving Doug Foxworth. Here's Brett Kepner.
So often we talk about the safety requirements that the International Hot Rod Association mandates in these cars, but one look at what Doug Foxworth's machine went through is a good indication of how well they're built. The engine cocked in the chassis. The rear of the back half of the car actually bent to one side. The front is destroyed, but look at the cage. The actual cockpit where the driver is supposed to be secure indeed did its job. It's as straight as an arrow, and that's why Doug Foxworth was awake and speaking when the safety crews got to him.
All right, thank you, Brett. We will move on now to round 3 in Pro Modified. There is Steve Johnson from Carpentersville, Illinois, in his 1993 Corvette ZR1, and his opponent, the absolutely striking paint job of Animal Jim Fuhrer from Lincoln, Illinois.
Well, this will be the traditional old Ford versus Chevy battle. Johnson with 706 inches, Animal Jim with 700 cubic inches of Ford. Pair of nitrous-injected cars.
Great leads for both drivers. Looks like maybe Animal Jim on the far side has an advantage, but here comes the Corvette.
Wow, what a run. 681, 202 miles per hour for Johnson as he bumps off the Animal.
So we have one nitrous-boosted car into the Pro Mod Finals. If there's going to be a supercharged car there, it's going to have to be this man. Scotty Cannon trying to stay undefeated as he goes against former champion Tim McCamus from Moscow Mills, Missouri.
Well, both of them running 93 Corvette ZR1s, and as you said, Cannon, the blown car, limited to 526 cubic inches. However, McCamus running 706 cubic inches of, get a load of this, Oldsmobile power.
McCamus is a shop foreman for Jerry Haas race cars in Illinois, so he knows chassis when he builds them. Supercharged car is staged. Here comes McCamus. They are away. McCamus lifts the front end. Scotty Cannon inches out front.
Oh, Cannon barely pulled that one out. 6.73 to a losing 677. The reaction time, McCamus had him off the line of 474 to a 490. And you can see it right there as we replay it, Bob.
Both cars bouncing down the strip, but holding straight and true at the line, less than half a car length for Cannon. So Scotty Cannon rolls on, looking for his third straight victory. He will face Steve Johnson in a nitrous-boosted versus supercharged final. Now let's move on to the semifinals in Pro Stock. There is Ricky Smith. You heard him mention earlier that he has teamed up with the Huff family. That would be reigning world champion Billy Huff, who's having all kinds of problems this year. But he is teamed with the king of the mountain motors, Ricky Smith, trying to find a winning combination. There is Smith's opponent, the quickest car in the class, the world record holder at 6.909 seconds, Terry Leggett from Pinetown, North Carolina.
This is real significant. Leggett running a General Lee Edwards mountain motor. Now, Ricky has dropped a Sonny Leonard mountain motor down in. So the battle of the mountain motor kings. General Lee, who really was a pioneer in mountain motor drag racing.
A mountain motor, anything over 500 cubic inches, and these guys are both way beyond 500 cubic inches. Looks like Smith has the advantage at half track.
Ricky pulls it out with a sensational 7.11, 196 miles per hour.
Had him off the line, had him on ET, had him on top speed. He was squirrely as he left the concrete launch pad. But Ricky Smith's driving talent got him to the finish by a car length. This should be a great final. Let's see who Ricky Smith will meet. There is Doug Kirk, a former world champ and the points leader coming in. And there is the machine of Floyd Cheek from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Both of these cars sporting 786 cubic inches. Pontiac for Kirk, Ford for Cheek.
Floyd Cheek actually cut his teeth in drag racing in the modified ranks, was a world champion, an IHRA star, an NHRA star, then moved into Pro Stock and has done very well.
Actually, Floyd Cheek's engine is slimmed down. It was over 800 cubic inches. Good leaves for both drivers. Looks like maybe Cheek with the advantage. Now here comes Doug Kirk.
Kirk passes him on top end with a 710, 197 mile per hour, and that gives him lane choice. Ricky slowed to a 711 on his run.
I said earlier it was reaction time. It's actually ET that determines lane choice, and you're right, Doug Kirk will have it with this pass. He knew Ricky Smith was in there with a 711. He needed a 710, and he got it. And so our matchup in the final will be Ricky Smith, the 5-time world champion, against Doug Kirk with just one world championship to his name. We'll be back with Top Fuel when we return to Thunder Valley.